Hi, folks. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, as per your time zone. I'm Kumkum from iZenBridge, and I'm back again on my Friday evening. As I promised you, we'll be back for live open session. I would like to welcome you all in live open session episode 7. So, guys, today I have Mr. Saket Bansal, and we'll discuss points and our queries and which certification is right for me and how to select safe certification according to your profile, according to your experience, and what you want to achieve in your life. Hi, Saket. Thank you very much for taking out time for this session.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So, guys, I have a couple of questions and I have received few questions over the email as well. I'll include those questions in today's session. But before starting and before jumping on my questions, I would like to discuss this thing with you. You all can share your questions with us. If you're watching this from LinkedIn or YouTube, just put your questions in the comment box. I'll include your questions and we'll discuss. So remember, guys, the agenda is drive by you only. So your questions are the first preference. But as of now, I am going to start with my questions. So, Saket, for this time, I have first two scenario-based questions, okay, which I got over the email from our participants. So, the first question is: I am working as a Scrum Master and certified CSM. Should I go for SAFe certification or not?
Okay, so majority of our clients who are enrolling for various SAFe certification may fall in that category. I would say majority, more than 60%. So there are individuals who are working as a Scrum Master for a while. They have studied Scrum, and now they want to do a little bit of scaling. They want to do a kind of a scale implementation of Agile. We want to understand how the scale implementation of Agile happens. So we need to understand what is your objective of doing Scaled Agile Framework certification. If your organization is going for SAFe implementation, then the case is simple. Yeah. So because as per the SAFe implementation roadmap itself, it is expected that everybody goes through the SAFe training. They get certified as per their appropriate role in the SAFe organization in SAFe implementation, and that is something a natural part. So if the SAFe implementation is happening in your organization, you definitely should understand what is Scaled Agile Framework. The problem probably, or the challenge which many of you may face, is that yeah, as of now there is no SAFe implementation, but I am looking for some future role, some kind of opportunities, and for that I am thinking of should I do Scaled Agile Framework or not. So in our observation, again, it's just an observation, you may have your own specific cases. Many people who have been doing Agile and Scrum for a while end up learning Scaled Agile Framework for making their job profile, or kind of a profile complete enough to demonstrate that they also have some amount of understanding of how to work at an enterprise level. Because many times the Scrum implementation is limited to the team, and when you go for senior roles where you are expected to work with multiple teams, you may get asked questions that, okay, how multiple team operates in your perspective, and how it happens in a safe way of working. So safe starts coming in the conversation, and in order to authentically, in order to confidently answer those questions, it's good to have some amount of SAFe knowledge, and doing one or two certification from Scaled Agile as per your profile and positioning is the good idea. So that is something which we see people doing, and that's what make them do the SAFe certification.
Thank you, Saket. Thank you very much for this elaborate answer. So, my next question is actually there is a related question I wanted to ask from you. But before that, I want to take one more scenario based, and we'll be done with the scenario based things, and then I'll ask you more questions. So, I'm a project manager and looking to get into the agile way of working in SAFe. So, what certification will be the choice for this person?
Okay, so we have not even discussed about that what the Scrum Master should do. So that's definitely he also need to select a particular certificate, and we can also club these two things together. That okay, if I am a project manager, which SAFe certification is good enough for me to get started? So I talk generically. If your organization is not yet starting SAFe implementation, then you may not go for a role specific certification. You might go for a generic certification which is the which provide you the most comprehensive understanding of scaled agile framework. And that particular generic certification in the SAFe word is called leading SAFe. The leading SAFe certification is out of various training programs scaled agile is providing, provide the most detailed overview. The scaled agile framework is a huge framework. Even if you spend if you end up doing all the trainings provided by scaled agile framework, still there will be areas which are not covered. So ultimately you know more and more about the framework by doing scaled agile framework by study on scaledagileframework.com. But if you want to have a one kickstart training, the leading SAFe is the good certification. And leading SAFe gives you a clear understanding how SAFe works, what is the SAFe's kind of an approach for solving business agility related issues. And you can also identify where you want to fit in a various SAFe related roles, which kind of a profile, which kind of a position you may want to target to, and accordingly you may choose to decide some more learning, maybe through certification or without certification in the SAFe direction.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much, Saket. So, Saket, now, I mean, you also said, and when while we were discussing the last question also, so this thing came in my mind, the different certification. So, if I am working as a CSM, so what would be the right choice? It's SAFe Scrum Master or the leading SAFe?
See, the idea here is if you are operating and working as a Scrum Master and you decide to do that, I want to learn SAFe and I want to do some certification on SAFe, then there are two scenarios. Scenario one is that my organization is moving towards SAFe and I am expected to play a role of a Scrum Master very soon in the SAFe environment. If that is the case, you may want to do role specific certification, maybe SAFe Scrum Master or SAFe Advanced Scrum Master. My recommendation would be that you do SAFe Advanced Scrum Master because you already know Scrum well. You might have been operating as a Scrum Master for a while, might have done certified Scrum Master before. So foundational understanding of how the role of a Scrum Master operate, you might already have. When you do a SAFe Advanced Scrum Master, it may position or it may give you a idea that how the role of a Scrum Master may differ when you are working in a multi-team environment, when you are working in a SAFe kind of an enterprise which is using Scaled Agile Framework. Because in a scrum, when you play a scrum master role, you are more concerned about one team. Usually there could be a scenario where you are concerned about coordination with multiple teams as well, but in case of SAFe, that is the scenario. You are expected to work with multiple teams and you need to understand how my role is going to be scaled when I am going to work in a SAFe environment. So that's the one situation. If you are already working as a scrum master, you see a position of a scrum master in a SAFe implementation, better you go for advanced SAFe Scrum Master. If you are just exploring SAFe, there is you are still working with a small team and you don't see a clear idea when you might work as a Scrum Master in a SAFe enterprise, and you just want to understand what is a Scaled Agile Framework. In that case, better you go for leading SAFe program, because leading SAFe program is not role specific, so it may not zoom in into your role as a Scrum Master in SAFe. That's a disadvantage of it. But the advantage of leading SAFe is it gives you the most comprehensive understanding of what is Scaled Agile Framework. So many times when people are still looking for a job and positioning their profile, they may want to understand the framework first before they want to position and understand their role in detail. So probably my recommendation is, if you are new to SAFe, may go for a leading SAFe, and if you have been doing, or if you have a clear goal of working in a SAFe environment as a senior Scrum Master or a Scrum Master, then better you go for a SAFe Advanced Scrum Master program.
Perfect, perfect. No, sounds actually makes sense, because that's what I am seeing, the industry is moving and all the big companies I'm seeing, they Because see, everybody doesn't have the role of Scrum Master or the product owner. There are many other roles like a tech lead, team lead, IT managers. So I think for them, it makes sense if they are not playing the specific role, they're handling the team and all. So to get the complete crux of the SAFe framework, go for the leading SAFe. Completely makes sense. So just one more thing, I mean, because it's also just related. So we are discussing, okay, people from CSM to moving on SAFe. So what is the difference between SAFe and Scrum?
Sure, and after this we will take some of the questions which are coming in the chat box as well. So see, many of you who are working as a Scrum Master or you are working in a Scrum environment might be having some awareness that how possibly the Scaled Agile framework is different from Scrum way of working. So in a way, you can think of the Scale Agile framework is a scaling framework which scales the Scrum way of working at an enterprise level. So you can say that if rather than just focusing on one team is using Scrum, if I have a multiple teams which might be using Scrum kind of approach, but they need to coordinate and integrate their work together and finish the deliverable periodically for reviews and demonstration and release frequently, then how should we organize ourselves? These frameworks are providing you approach to organize yourself. Ultimately, you need to do the work, but they help you in creating a better understanding, common goal, and better coordination of your work. That's the whole idea of any of the framework which you use. So Scaled Agile framework is primarily meant for scaling Agile. So it means that you may have an Agile at a team level, you may want to take it at a multi-team level or at an enterprise level. Then you go for SAFe way of working, which will add some additional stuff to your existing way of working, because you will have agility at a team level, but you need to club or you need to plug with other teams. And how can possibly I plug with other teams? By maintaining continuous adaptation, by maintaining continuous discovery of a requirement, because many times when you start plugging with other teams, it may become too much predictive and too much upfront planning. So how to maintain agility as well as scaling our development approach is something which is explained, or which is, you can say, one of the possible way is given in this Scaled Agile framework. There could be other possible ways also. You can discover your own way, but yes, looking at a Scaled Agile framework, it gives you a one approach for scaling or extending your agility at a multi-team level or at an enterprise level. So that's the difference possibly we can see.
Perfect. Thank you, Sakit. And I think we can take the audience questions now.
Okay, so what I can see here is that we start with a SAFe question and then I go reverse. So we have a question which is coming primarily saying, I have been working as a project manager with knowledge of Scrum Master, so will be eligible for SAFe certification. Now, the interesting thing about SAFe certification is they do have a recommendation, but there is no very, I'd say, very hard-coded eligibility criteria. That's not there. So leading SAFe is primarily meant for everyone. Whoever wants to understand how SAFe operates, you are expected to go for leading SAFe program. When you look for SAFe Scrum Master or Advanced Scrum Master program, the recommendation is that you should have some amount of role experience in order to do a role specific certification, because those certifications are meant for a kind of understanding a given role in a SAFe way of working. So my recommendation, if you are wondering that, okay, am I eligible for this certification or not? Yeah, in general, eligibility wise, there will be no problem, but it's a good idea to start with a leading SAFe, because it is meant for leaders and managers who are expected to work inside the SAFe environment or work with the teams who are using SAFe. So both way it is useful to do that. And there is no you should have a basic understanding of Agile. That's what they recommend. And once you have a basic understanding of Agile and some amount of management experience, you can go ahead and do the leading SAFe program. Yeah. Okay, so we have few interesting questions related to salaries. Actually, I don't know. Yeah, so how much one can expect after doing PMP certification or something like this? My basic understanding is the PMP certification, maybe there are companies who may show that by doing a particular certificate, you start earning X amount of money. But our understanding and observation is the certification may not directly relate to salary, because if that is the case, everybody can do it somehow and get that particular amount of money. So certification is something kind of an investment you do, the way you add skills in your profile. But there is no one skill. There are multiple skills which decide your value delivery to the client, and in return client decides, or the organization decides how they want to reward you. But yeah, there are surveys, organization, various job site conduct surveys, and you probably want to see those surveys based on your profile. Most of the job sites are doing it. So when you create a profile in a job site, they can tell you that this should be your this is where you fall. You are below the mean, above the mean, and what is the max value, what is the mean value, and what is the min value. But again, those are very statistical data, but if someone wants to look into it, they can probably see that. Yeah. In general, our clients who are doing PMP certification, they are doing it for better employability. So they have a kind of ability to apply at various positions. That's something they target to. Whatever they are earning at a current stage, they do expect some percentage of increase in it, because they are making themselves more and more employable. And many of our clients are doing it because since they are doing project management, they want to also master it, and they don't want to wait for a situation when they are in a crisis and then they need to learn a new skills. So they want to get ready for the future possibilities, and that's the major reason I personally observe in our customer base. There could be someone else customer base and they may have a different observation, but that's how the PMP thing work out. And same answer I probably will give for a Scrum Master thing as well, that so again, it's difficult to say that a project manager should get X and Scrum Master should get Y. But yes, there are job sites, there are surveying organization who conduct surveys and tells you that this is the minimum salary and maximum salary, but we don't have any clue about it. We don't have any research behind it. Okay, so with these two questions, I think we can go and pick up from your database, Kumkum, if you have something coming. Yeah. You need to unmute.
So sorry. Okay. So yeah. So I have one interesting question. So what type of projects are usually done in SAFe?
Okay, so see, many time, this is the question even I get when I am training people on SAFe, especially on a leading SAFe, because in a leading SAFe, we get many people who are curious and they are just learning about Scaled Agile Framework. So the interesting thing is the Scaled Agile Framework is not a project delivery framework. So you can say that there is no type of project which is suitable for SAFe. Technically speaking, you should not be working in a project mode if you are working on SAFe. Now, somebody may wonder, what does it mean? So the whole idea here is, think like a bank, that you are a bank and you have a credit card related applications. Those applications need to be maintained. There is always a need of creating new applications, new features, because you have a credit card customers and they need a more and more applications and IT support from you. So in order to support that, you have a dedicated group of individuals. You may call them development organization, or you may call them a kind of a new product organization who is continuously working on as soon as we have a new idea available and they have a capacity available. So based on the capacity and the need, we keep working all the time. So there is no project and contract and all those things are needed there, because you have an organization, you have a customer base, you have a client base. It's just ongoing thing which keeps working. Now, this is how the Scaled Agile Framework is designed. Yeah, this is how it is designed. Now, having said that, many organizations may take piece of SAFe implementation, which is many times called essential SAFe, and they may also implement it in a project environment. Yeah. So what they do, they are not relating the portfolio flow and other flows. They are saying, okay, we just want to use the continuous planning, continuous coordination, continuous integration, continuous delivery approach, which is given in a Scaled Agile Framework in our project environment. So technically speaking, they are mixing and creating their own style in a way, but the essential SAFe part of it can be used when you have a project or a program which has multiple teams. You can say that there is a system integration involved, there is a different type of components involved, and there might be some vendor who is supplying some part of the component. So some amount of a system integration, some amount of development, and ultimately you are coming up with a big solution rather than just creating an independent standalone system. So when you have those kind of needs, maybe you just take an essential SAFe part of it, and then you probably go ahead with it. So that's the whole idea which one can use when they are thinking of what type of projects are suitable. So the formal answer is no type of projects are suitable for SAFe. You should not be working in a project environment if you are using SAFe. That's a first level answer. The second level answer is that yes, sometimes you may participate or you may use some set of ceremonies or events from Scaled Agile in order to make multiple team collaborate, plan, integrate, deliver things on a continuous basis. So large programs or projects where there is a multiple dependencies, heterogeneous work, but ultimately need to be integrated. Those kind of environment might be ideal for Scaled Agile Framework kind of approach.
Perfect. Sounds good. Thank you, Sakit. And actually, even I was thinking about though we have discussed partially this question, which just Jyoti posted. So, how do I select the right SAFe certification? So, I think we can include this question.
Yeah. So in a simplistic way, as I said before, if you have a clear goal in mind, if you are working in a SAFe implementation, you go for role-based certificate. So which means if you are a Scrum Master and you are using SAFe, you may go for SAFe Scrum Master or SAFe Advanced Scrum Master. If you are a product owner, you may go for SAFe Product Management Product Owner Certificate because that's the role you are fitting in. If you are a manager, leader who is not necessarily part of development organization, might be participating in the various development organization meetings. For example, I'm a stakeholder and I only come and see the various results, various demonstration my development team is putting on a periodic basis, and I'm providing feedback to them, but I want to understand how this whole thing is working so that I can identify appropriate time, appropriate style of integrating with these people. Then I go for leading SAFe. So leading SAFe is primarily meant for managers and stakeholders, yeah, and generically knowing SAFe well. And then you have a role specific certificate like product owner specific, the Scrum Master specific certificates, release train engineer specific certificates are there. And then they have a unique certificate which is more about portfolio and strategic alignment management, which is little bit unique, which is primarily meant for people who are working in a portfolio space. So it depends where you fit in your current profile and what you want to achieve from your SAFe education. But if you are confused, by default, starting with leading SAFe is always a good idea.
Thank you, Sakit. Just one more thing I'm thinking if that can help our audience as well. So, see, you said, after CSM, okay, one should can go for the leading SAFe, and if they have the specific requirement, like a Scrum Master or the product owner, they can go for the specific role also. So, as an expert, what you recommend, what is your recommendation? Suppose if I am already working as a manager, and now I want to take a specific role in a SAFe environment, the PO role. Okay, so should I directly go for the POPM, or what is your recommendation here?
So if you have a very clarity about a role, then you can directly go for a role specific certificate. So if you are clear that I have to play a product owner role, then you can definitely go and do that particular certification. If you are not clear which role and how this thing will turn out, I might be playing a stakeholder role, I might be playing a support role, I might be playing a Scrum Master role or something else. Then going for leading SAFe is a good idea. And if I am just want to know about Scaled Agile, I just want to make myself ready, then possibly also going for a leading SAFe is a good idea. Else you can go for POPM directly. Yeah. So role specific certificates can be done if you have a clear idea about your role in the SAFe implementation. Yeah.
Okay. So if I'm new for the SAFe environment and I'm starting my first role as a SAFe product owner, then it makes sense if I'll get, start with the leading SAFe and then go for the POPM. Is it right, Sakit? My understanding is correct.
Yeah, that's something we can say, that yes, that if you are already clear about your role, future role, then definitely you can go for a role specific certificate. If you are not yet clear about your future role and you want to understand how the Scaled Agile framework operates, better you go for leading SAFe certification first.
Perfect. Thank you very much for this clarification, Sakit. Now, another thing I just wanted to understand. So already I've done my CSM. Okay, now how the CSM is different from the Safe Scrum Master, or rather, I would say how Safe Scrum Master certification is different from the CSM.
That's a very interesting question, and we get that kind of a question very frequently. Since we also teach Scrum, we also teach CSM, we also have a Safe Scrum Master. There are people who may want to do directly Safe Scrum Master. There are people who are wondering, should which Scrum Master I should do? Should I go for a Scrum Alliance Scrum Master, or should I go for Scaled Agile Scrum Master? So that's a fair a confusion, and I think that's a good question. So. If you are working or expected to work as a Scrum Master in a generic environment where you might be working with one team or two teams, better you go for Certified Scrum Master, because Certified Scrum Master program is not dependent on safe implementation. It is not dependent on a large implementation of Agile. It is meant, even it's a small implementation of Agile, is also good to go for a Certified Scrum Master. But if you are working in a scaled Agile environment, and you might be new, yeah, you might be just starting your certification and education journey, you might have a work experience, that's why you are working as a Scrum Master in a scaled Agile implementation already, then you better take a Safe Scrum Master program, because that Safe Scrum Master will teach you your Scrum, because you might be operating in a Scrum in a safe environment. So you better learn your Scrum by going for Safe Scrum Master program. So simple idea. Now, how the content might be different. Somebody will say, okay, I understood. Branding wise, I understood. If I'm working in a Safe, I go for Safe Scrum Master. If I'm not working in a Safe, I go for Certified Scrum Master. But how the contents are different. So generic understanding which you learn in a Scrum Master certification, CSM certification, is it helps you in understanding the team level Scrum implementation, team level Agile implementation, so that you know how this whole thing operate. Yeah. So you run various ceremonies at a team level, you know how to protect your team from external interferences, and you understand overall implementation of Agile or a Scrum way of working at a team level. But when you go for Safe Scrum Master, there are some additional events. You can say there are additional meetings, there are some additional roles. So in a simple word, I can explain the Scrum planning cycle may start with sprint planning cycle. You are planning for your coming sprint. Whereas a Safe planning cycle may start from PI planning, which is like you are planning together with other Scrum teams, and you are planning for a little bit longer time horizon than just 2 weeks for at a higher level. So when you are already working in a safe environment, you want to understand your starting point. You don't want to start with, okay, we will do a sprint planning and everything will revolve around a given sprint only. You want to understand what happens before sprint, and you may also want to understand what are the other things which happens maybe after the sprint is over. So those part of content will not get taught in a CSM. That part of content will be only explained in a Safe Scrum Master class. But the reverse side is, if your organization or if your experience is primarily focusing on one team way of working, and if you start learning about Safe Scrum Master, then you may also get confused. You may say that, okay, in my case, this all is not relevant. We start from sprint planning and we finish at sprint review. We don't have all these things which is getting taught here. So please select based on what is your current experience, or what is your path related to your Scrum Master role. If you're working in the Agile, generic Agile space, better to do certified Scrum Master. If you are starting new and you are saying, I just want to pitch in for a Scrum Master role and I am just doing a developer role, but I have an interest in the leadership role, my recommendation is go for certified Scrum Master, because it will give you the foundational understanding. And as soon as you see a possibility of moving into a SAFe type of work environment, then you can do an augmentation at that point in time by either picking the SAFe Scrum Master related program or by picking a leading SAFe program. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Saket. So we have one question from the audience. Before that, I just would like to give the message to the people who joined a little late this session. So guys, this is the open hour session and this is your space. Whatever questions related to your career, your right certification, you can ask here and we have the expert and he'll answer all your questions. So the thing you have to do, just if you're watching this from LinkedIn, just post your questions in the comment section. And if you're watching from YouTube, just post your questions in the comment section. We'll include your questions. And it's already 30 minutes over, so we have only 30 minutes, so you can share your questions. So now I'm taking one more question.
Okay, so yeah, so we have a question and we put it here. Okay,
Yeah.
so currently doing a dual role as a project manager and Scrum Master and certified Scrum Master, which particular certificate is better? PMP, GCP, I am not aware what is GCP, and SAFe. So I can say PMP and SAFe. That's something I'm clear about. See, if you want to work as a Scrum Master or as a multiple teams Scrum Master, or you are getting an opportunity to work in a multi-team environment where SAFe is getting used, doing a leading SAFe program is a good idea, or a SAFe related program is a good idea. That's something is pretty much simple to answer. The time it takes to do a SAFe certification, for example, leading SAFe certification, might be maximum of 20-21 hours of time investment. You may study for 14 hours in the class and you may prepare for 4, 5, 7 hours after the class and you get certified. That's the time investment you need. Whereas a PMP certification, the time investment could be 100 to 200 hours, depending upon how and what is the background you have, and it may spread across 2-3 months. So it's difficult to say that A over B, so it is not comparable. We can say that you may have your own sequence. Doing SAFe is just a 2 or 3 days effort. You doing PMP is a little long-term investment. Yeah, 2-3 months investment, not that long, but still there is an investment. So in general, PMP certification is something which is needed at some point in time when you play program management, when you want to talk to stakeholders who might be mixing traditional and agile approaches on their day-to-day working, or you might be facing a situation where part of the project is going agile and part of the project is going non-agile and you need to integrate everything together, or the client may not care about what approach you are using. They want to use the best approach which is suitable for solving their problem. They don't care it's agile or non-agile or hybrid or waterfall. They want to keep changing their approach so that it fits well to their need. Yeah, so you may have those kind of clients, and that kind of a situation, having overall project management knowledge and agile knowledge, which a current PMP exam covers, is a good idea to take care of those situations. So that's a kind of a good thing to do. Now, SAFe, if you see a clear opportunity you want to get, see, SAFe is a one particular framework, whereas a PMP is a generic knowledge base. There is no exact path in PMP that do A, do B, do C, and then deliver. There is nothing like that. There are various ideas, there are various approaches which can be applied depending upon your context. Yeah, there is no sequence defined, there is no kind of a flow defined or a mandatory flow defined in a PMP program. But in case of SAFe, it's a structure. It's kind of another way, or it's a framework like Scrum. Scrum is at a team level, SAFe is an enterprise level. So it's a particular framework which has a clear indication and relationship and approach of working. It gives a stitched solution to you, so you don't have to worry about what should you do when and where. The disadvantage is this stitched solution is useful when your organization is using the whole solution. Yeah, because it is just not a kind of a knowledge base or plug and play component which you can apply whenever there is a need, or you can tailor remaining of it, which is the case with PMP. So in general, my recommendation for the people who are doing Scrum, project management, and hybrid approaches, at some point in time, better you invest some time and energy for doing PMP. If you see an immediate opportunity, or if you want to get into an organization where Agile is applied at an enterprise level and SAFe is the most popular framework in those cases, then having some kind of a credential of related to SAFe is a good idea. But compared to PMP, the time investment is far, far less. So you can just do both, or the SAFe can be done in the parallel where you are investing your time and energy for doing PMP.
Great. Thank you very much, Saket. And I think Ranjit got the answer. Okay. So you started the conversation something around the hybrid approach and all. If we'll get the extra time, then I want to jump on these topics as well. But as of now, let's focus on the SAFe related things. So see, we have covered CSM versus SAFe Scrum Master. Now I want to ask you about the SAFe Scrum Master versus Advanced SAFe Scrum Master. So, how different is Advanced SAFe Scrum Master from SAFe Scrum Master?
So, say that there are multiple certification programs. They will have some common themes and they will have some additional content. So in a SAFe Advanced Scrum Master, the way I see the content as well as positioning, it's a kind of a bridge certificate between a Scrum Master and release train engineer role. So it is, from a Scaled Agile, also a recommended certificate for the people who are aspiring for release train engineer role. So that's the positioning. Now somebody may wonder, okay, what is this release train engineer to start with? So in a simple word, in a SAFe environment, we can say that there are multiple teams, agile teams. We can call them Scrum teams just for a simplicity sake. I'm not getting into the terminology space. So assuming there are multiple teams, agile teams, and there are multiple Scrum Master, there is a need of a kind of a overall servant leader who facilitate overall development, or overall impediment removal when it comes to multiple teams. So there could be a few things which are stuck at a inter-team level, and someone has to resolve those things at a multi-team environment. So we have a role called release train engineer, who is kind of a servant leader for the whole group of agile teams who are working for a common goal. That common goal and that particular group is called agile release train. I'm not bringing a lot of terminologies here, but you can say there are multiple agile teams, say 5 to 12 agile teams who are working together. They may have their own Scrum Master, but there is someone who is leading the whole initiative to ensure a proper resolution of impediment, proper alignment, and if there is anything is getting stuck, this person should be solving those problems. And that role is called release train engineer. So when you start working as a Scrum Master, and you may want to operate at a multi-team environment, so SAFe, kind of a path they are giving is you do an advanced Scrum Master first, and then you play a release train engineer role. And after few years or months of experience of a release train engineer, you may do a specific certificate which is meant for release train engineer, which is called SAFe RTE. So the individuals who want to get into the next level journey of the SAFe Scrum Master profile should target for SAFe Advanced Scrum Master. Now, from content perspective, it focuses on the role of a Scrum Master in SAFe environment, the way Scrum Master can support release train engineer in getting a program level issues resolved. So the major focus is how do you support the release train engineer when we talk about SAFe Advanced Scrum Master. And it also talks about recognition and dealing with various agile anti-patterns. So it is more about or exploring how things probably can go wrong and what do you do about it. So bringing a lot of situations where we look into that, okay, if we have a SAFe implementation, if this is how things goes, this is how we can probably bring them on track again. So that kind of a content is covered in a SAFe Advanced Scrum Master. What I can observe from the industry or from the community is we are finding good amount of interest getting created for SAFe Advanced Scrum Master. Many people are approaching this particular certification now. Earlier there was less interest, but now we can see that it's a little advanced. You might have already done Scrum Master certification. You want to do something in SAFe. You want to stick to your role profile. You don't want to go generic. Then the SAFe Advanced Scrum Master is a good profile or a good certification for you.
Okay. So one more thing I just wanted to understand about the SAFe Advanced Scrum Master. So what do you recommend? Uh, I mean, how many years experience one should have to go for the Advanced SAFe Scrum Master kind of certification?
So as I said that there is no hardcore kind of a dependency or something eligibility which is mentioned here. But what we can say here is that in general, you should have some experience of working in a Scrum environment. You should know what is Scrum. You should have done one of the Scrum certification, at least, yeah, maybe certified Scrum Master or something else. Not necessarily just a SAFe Scrum Master, but you should know little bit about decent about Scrum. That's the only condition. 1, 2, 3 years of Scrum Master experience is a good idea, but again, no mandatory things which is mentioned as a criteria here. Now, it's a good idea if you develop a basic understanding of SAFe before you go to the class, and that's a good idea for any SAFe class, because see, SAFe class are usually content heavy. There is a good amount of content which will be coming in. So we have collection of videos which you can check out in advance. So you can learn those fundamental things. If you have a Scrum experience, you watch our 1 or 2 video on SAFe, you are good to attend the specific training you are looking for yourself in a SAFe context.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Saket. And one more question I have, and actually, this is the discussion happening since last 1.5 month, I can say. Okay, there are a lot of people. They don't have any technical background. They are not working for IT, and they are very experienced people also. And especially these kind of scenarios I'm getting from the banking sector. Okay, so the organizations are asking these guys, they are part of ops teams and some other teams, and they're running some process only. So they are not working for the IT division. Okay, so but the organization is moving on SAFe, and they are asking them to go for the SAFe certification. But these guys are clueless. So which SAFe certification is suitable for them?
Okay, so this is an opportunity to explore why this kind of a need is coming, and that might be useful for others also who might not have this particular need themselves, but you need to understand probably why this kind of a need is coming. So that is the primary positioning of Scaled Agile Framework. They are positioning themselves as a framework or an operating system for organizational level agility, or by enabling you to be agile in your business. And ultimately, they use a term called business agility. So they want you to be fast, responding, innovative company at an organization level, as a business level. And they are giving an approach for achieving that agility, which they call it business agility. They have a 7 competencies and saying, we want to help you in achieving agility at an org level, at a business level. Now, when you want to achieve an agility at a business level, just working with IT team is not enough. Say I'm a restaurant right now. I'm serving in dine, but I want to go digital, and I want to primarily focus on home delivery, and I want to supply packed food now. Yeah, that's something I'm focusing on. Packed, little bit more non-perishable, which can last, which may have a shelf life of 7 days, 10 days, and all. So now it may require a different kind of a systems. So I need to manage my different inventories. I need to manage my different supply chain. I need to have a different way of taking orders, invoicing. So I need to have a different things. But at the same time, I also need to train my staff in doing different things. I need to have a different way of contracting. I need to have a different way of looking for legal complications, and different kind of compliance certifications are needed, because I want to go for little bit like shelf life food, which was not my business before. So if I only have a new IT system which can help me in selling online, but my other things are not keeping at par with it, I will not be able to achieve my overall business agility. So that's the kind of a story behind it. Now, what SAFe is saying, since we are helping you to bring an agility at an enterprise level, the people who are working in a non-development organization, somehow they also interact at some point in time, and they need to also know how to apply agile idea in their space. That's the one thing. And they also need to know how to operate and work with development organization, development teams, because what kind of a systems and what kind of a processes they are using. Now, by considering these two things, they recommend that those people should go for scaled agile education program. Now, the primary objective of educating them in a scaled agile education, there are two areas which are stressed upon when I take the classes for various clients and banking clients as well. So one area is understanding the principles. So in a leading SAFe class, we have a good amount of time we end up spending on explaining the idea behind SAFe way of working, the idea behind agile way of working. So these non-development group should also understand the principle of agility, the principle of collaboration, the principle of fast and continuous delivery, the principle of fast feedback loop, principle of making decision based on economics, continuous prioritization. So they need to understand those principles, and they probably apply those principles in their world in a different way. So they need to understand that. That's why the leading SAFe program is taught to them. The another thing they need to do is they need to understand how these SAFe part of the organization, because SAFe is primarily focusing on development organization, not an operational organization. So how the SAFe part of organization might be operating, and how best they can connect with them, how best they can provide their feedbacks, how best they can put their requirement in front of them. So that's the two objectives which they should achieve by going through a training program, understanding the fundamental of agile and SAFe, and understand how possibly those ideas can be applied in their operational work. Second, learn how to work and operate with SAFe kind of teams who are using SAFe way of working. And the recommended certification program for them is a leading SAFe program. Little bit a word of warning: if you are joining a public batch, if you are having dedicated batch of your own people, then the problem is less, because the trainer and the conversation will be capped at your level, so you don't go a little confused. But if you are joining a public class where people from agile and scrum backgrounds are also coming and you are also coming, so you may find little difficulty to catch up with the content which is going on. So my recommendation is, irrespective of where you go, we have collection of videos on Scaled Agile Framework. Please check our videos in advance. There is a good introduction video. There is a good video on Essential SAFe. You check them out well. If some of those content generates some curiosity, you check those details also. And after that, attend the leading SAFe class. I'm sure you will find it very, very useful and relevant for your work area as well.
Thank you very much, Saket. This is awesome. Really well explained thing. So now even I got the clarity how I can explain this thing to the people whom I am discussing. Thank you very much for this. So we have one questions which actually we dealt couple of times. So how difficult is the exam?
See, the idea of SAFe exams, be it a leading SAFe, Scrum Master exams, they are not meant for failing you. They are, the whole idea is that we want you, and the Scaled Agile wants you to pass the exam. So that's the whole idea. And in my view, the way I see it, the exam creates some kind of extended learning beyond the training. So the training gets over, and rather than just thinking and observing few ideas in the training, you put more attention when you have little bit validation of the exam, and it may also trigger you to learn little bit more, 7-8 hours more after the training class before you go for the exam. So that's the whole idea, that you should learn about framework little bit more. Now, if you spend, say, after training 10 hours, there is a very, very unlikely that you end up failing in the exam. So that's not at all difficult. And for all the SAFe programs, they have a portal. They provide you practice tests, yeah, so that you know how you are able to interpret the questions. because sometimes questions, if you are not coming from process background, if you are not coming from management background, you may find difficulty in understanding the language of the question, because it uses quality terminology, project management terminology, as if everybody understands that. So that could be a little struggle, but that struggle gets resolved when you spend time exploring practice test. So once the training gets over, you review the content of the training. If there is something confusing, you connect with your trainer and get some clarities. In our case, we have a support via email, and we kind of spread the classes in the multiple weeks so that we can clarify them in a subsequent sessions. And then sometime, like in our case, we also provide some collection of videos which mostly covers the crucial and complicated concepts. So that could be a useful thing to do. And after that, you take a practice test and ensure that you score well in the practice test. If you do these things, and usually it takes around 10 hours for a leading SAFe example, and then you are good. Then you may score more than 85%, you may score near 90% in the exam, and exam will not be a problem for you. Yeah.
Awesome. So, Jyoti, I think you're clear about the answer. So, and you have to study first. If you will not study, this will remain the difficult for you. Okay. So, Saket, I don't think so. I'll get the time for the hybrid approach discussion. So, I'll keep this for the next Friday. So, today I have a couple of more questions, and I want to focus on the SAFe related questions. So, guys, if you also have any questions, so this just we have 10 minutes. So you can post your questions, and I'll include your questions as well.
I missed this question. I think this is something little not safe though, but it came and I kind of
Oh,
missed
yeah.
it. So this was question was saying then, can we have a brief overview of agile approach? That's the one thing which was coming. So I think I can take it in next 5 minutes probably, and then we probably close. So see, in a simple way of understanding agile approach is validating your assumptions frequently. And when you want to validate your assumptions frequently, when you have less trust in your assumption. So the idea of a predictive life cycle is we have fair amount of data, we have a fair amount of understanding about the type of work we are doing. And we can make assumption related to scope, we can make assumption related to estimation, we can make assumption related to approaches, and mostly they will come true. There could be few which we will track via risk, which if they don't come true, we will take care of them with the help of risk management. That's a predictive life cycle approach. Many of you who are working in a project management, that's why we do a risk management, to ensure that some of the assumptions and some of the contingencies need to be kind of taken care as we go along. Now, in the agile way of working is like we are in a situation where we are getting into a territory which is less and less known to us. Over a period of time, you will discover about it. So whatever assumption you make about the customer preferences, about the technology, about the work it will need, about the various element of the project, they need to be frequently validated. Because they may not hold true after some time. Now, in order to do that, the agile way of working recommends we take a small feedback loops. We have a small cycles. So rather than planning things for a long term, we plan things for small packets. And in that small box, we do everything. And then we take critical feedback on our work. And we also validate our assumptions and drop the ideas which are not making sense, and keep the ideas which are making sense for the future space. So that's the whole thing, which is a kind of an agile way of working. Now, in general, agile is a kind of a 4 values and 12 principle if you go in a theoretical space. So in a simple word, more collaborative, fast feedback loop is something, is a key aspect. If you want to know a little bit more structurally, you may want to check a Scrum way of working, because Scrum gives an approach to an agile idea where it works in a small time boxed sprint. So there are some framework around it which helps you in doing what I said, as small and frequent validation of your work. So I think at this level, this is a good starting point. And we have enough videos on Agile and Scrum on our YouTube channel. So you can pick up some of the videos and start building up your ideas around it.
Perfect. Thank you, Saket. And if you're not in a hurry, I want to take one more questions. This will be the last questions, and then we can close. So this is about the LPM, the SAFe lean portfolio management. So what is the certification?
So many of people who might be attending this class or this session may find it little off track, because the many of you might be working in a project management space, team coordination space, team leadership space. But the lean portfolio management is not for team leadership or a group leadership. It is more about strategic analysis, strategic alignment, strategic review of your work. Yeah. So, see, the portfolio or portfolio management is something which is a very old concept. There is nothing new in it. Earlier, when you were doing projects, there was always a portfolio management. Sometimes the portfolio was a collection of projects, yeah, or a projects or services. Portfolio was also managed as a collection of products. So that part was always there. Now, what is little different in a lean portfolio management, or what is the position of a lean portfolio management, is it's a safe way of managing various initiatives and ideas. So you can say that SAFe development organization, in a simple word, you may have a 5,000 people in that development organization, and they might be working on 50, 60 ideas at a given point in time. Now, how do you ensure that the upcoming new rewarding ideas are taken as a priority? And how do you review that current ideas which are getting in execution, are they still making profitable business sense? Should we continue with them? Should we drop them? So the lean portfolio management is a group which ensures that if how do I ensure the organization strategic direction and team level execution remain in alignment? So whatever team, whatever my portfolio or my 5,000 development team people might be doing, they should be as per my organization strategy. That's a lean portfolio management group should ensure. And the lean portfolio management group ensures it by way of scrutinizing the new initiative. Should we really work on them or should not we work on them? That's a one way. The lean portfolio management also ensure that alignment by providing support and guidance to ongoing execution programs, by keep sharing the strategic thought behind what we are doing, by also participating in various reviews and learning sessions which these teams are doing. So that's a continuous portfolio execution. And whenever there is a needed the reduction of a budget or extension of a budget, we realize that this part is making more sense but it requires more money. This part is making is going perfect but the business case is becoming poor. So adjustment of the budget on ongoing basis. So realignment, killing the ideas, realigning the ideas, merging two teams, merging postponing some particular idea for a future. That kind of review is expected to be done by the lean portfolio management. Now, a lean portfolio management is a group which is doing all this. Now, the lean portfolio management certification teaches you how to do all these things in a scaled agile environment. Yeah, so that's the whole idea. Now, how possibly you interact with your development teams, how do you evaluate their initiative, how do you review their budgets, when should you, what are the frequency, what possible meetings can be taken as taking decision for merging two teams or discontinuing a particular initiative. So how to do all these things in a safe environment is taught in a lean portfolio management, which ensures that you achieve business agility because you ensure a good alignment between organization strategy and the execution which is done at a team level. So that's the whole idea of lean portfolio management.
Perfect, perfect, Sake. Thank you very much. Just one quick question. So, who should do this certification, LPM?
So people who are into this strategic space, maybe ex PMOs or a delivery groups, or there are usually a portfolio management group in various organizations. So people who are in a portfolio should do it. Sometime in our experience, we also see the senior business leaders who are playing a key role in safe implementation also end up doing lean portfolio management certification because they want to understand in detail how the strategic alignment will remain when they are going to operate using scaled agile framework. So in general, if you are working in a LPM space or a portfolio management space and your organization is moving in a SAFe environment, you are a good candidate for doing LPM. If you are at a leadership role and your organization is going for SAFe implementation, you better, after doing leading SAFe class, also you attend leading SAFe class will come as a default class to you. That's your implementation partner will push for it. But after going for a leading SAFe class, you may also go for lean portfolio management class, because it also helps you in seeing the overall SAFe implementation from strategic alignment perspective. So these are the two type of individuals who might go for SAFe LPM.
Perfect, perfect. Thank you very much, Saket, for all the questions. And I think this session was awesome, very insightful. So the recording will be there, guys. So if you have missed something, you can go back and check the recording and you'll get the answers. And we'll be back again next Friday if you have any questions, because now time is over and we have to say bye to you. But you can ask your questions next week, next Friday, 7 p.m. IST. And take care of yourself. Stay safe. Bye for now. Bye.
Bye everyone. Thank you for joining in.